An aggressive campaign that will astound you. What you are about to read will seem paranoid and crazy. What is crazy is that all this information is true, and there is a trail of evidence that proves these facts. As you read, you will learn the acts of terrorism and acts of treason being perpetrated against the American people and people around the world by the intelligence agencies of many countries. These acts include, but are not limited to, gang stalking, systematic attempts to drive a target crazy, i.e. gaslighting, and or attempts to drive a target to murder and or suicide. It is a campaign that will astound you. In my investigations, I have discovered that the intelligence agencies, not only from the U.S., but also from the following countries are involved: Canada, Great Britain, France, Germany, Australia, India, Pakistan, Israel, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Jamaica, the Philippines, Japan, Ireland, Africa, Italy, Monaco, Venezuela, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, China. However, keep in mind that there is a strong possibility that others are also involved. This is also being conducted worldwide under the Echelon Project. Okay. These agencies are forcing people homeless and runaway children, homeless adults, and mentally and physically challenged persons released from institutions under the Reagan-Bush presidencies through these illegal acts to become government-controlled informants and implanting a device called a burst bug in their ear. These controlled informants are the people conducting unscrupulous activities which include gang stalking, assault, murder, identity theft, break-ins, robberies, and the sabotage of automobiles, electronics, especially computers, etc. They are pushing people to commit homicide and suicide. They are also pushing people to they are also being used to falsely accuse targets of crimes such as child molestation, rape, and white-collar crimes, framing them for these crimes, and then lying in jury trials. These have been the case with Martha Stewart, Michael Jackson, Dan Rather, to just name a few. Many of these controlled informants are also convicted murderers, pedophiles, rapists, etc. The intelligence agencies hide their criminal records, and many of them continue to commit the same offenses upon society, where the intelligence agencies turn a blind eye. These crimes are also being conducted so that the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies can lead Congress by manipulating to pass legislation such as the National Identification Card, the Patriot Act No. 2, and other bills which contain subsections which are not known to the general public. It is the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies, including the military, that are conducting these criminal acts and acts of terrorism so that they can pass the necessary legislation to eventually abolish the Constitution and all of our civil liberties and achieve military-industrial complex. And as a former President George Herbert Walker Bush stated, the New World Order, which is one world government. Through my investigation and by being a target myself of these informants, I have found that government-controlled informants in the African American and Hispanic communities are 3 to 4, 4 and 5. In the Middle Eastern and in other foreign communities such as India, Pakistan, Asia, Africa, and Jamaicans, and Zimbabwean, it seems much higher. I have found that 4 out of the 5 are government-controlled informants, and many times 5 out of 5. In the overall U.S. population, including the white communities, these government-controlled informants are 1 in 5. Many of these foreign individuals are often wanted criminals in their native country and other countries. Example, many were invited from Mexico. They often have criminal records and outstanding warrants. And some have military trained either in the foreign country or in the U.S. The burst bug device is a tracking device and a listening device, which gives the controlled informant the amazing ability to hear at a superhuman level. Individuals with the burst bug implant can hear the quietest whisper from across a room. It gives a deaf person the ability to hear. So there's your technology that is used in the medical field against the regular average citizen. See how they use this shit on the medicine? How they do it for medical purposes? It permits the Pentagon and all other intelligence agencies to hear conversations in real time, which are digitally recorded. Through the burst bug, the intelligence agencies are conducting voice analysis and voice recognition. The intelligence agencies are all given instructions in real time on how to handle a target situation or things to say to a targeted person. The government-controlled informants who are gang-stalking the target will often repeat parts of what is said on a target's phone conversation from illegal phone taps. This lets the target know that they are being both watched and monitored. This method makes a target feel paranoid or think they are crazy. The use of this device in this manner is also used in courtroom circumstances, guiding the informant on what to say in trials when they are on the witness stand. I have discovered this burst bug in children and seniors as little as 86 years old. The intelligence agencies are training these people to be terrorists and to be loyal only to them. With this manipulation comes a great deal of brainwashing and pure fear. For those that want to dispute this, I have several family members and friends of 20 plus years who are forced to be government-controlled informants. I have been attempting to go public with this information for several years, so as to get the terrorism against me, my family, friends, and the many other targeted people to cease, and to restore freedom as we believe it to be. However, one of my problems that I have had has been the intelligence agencies have damaged 8 computers in an attempt to prevent this from occurring. All these activities are conducted by the intelligence agencies under the war of drugs, the war on crime, and the war on terror. This is ironic considering that the intelligence agencies are the criminals and terrorists. The intelligence agencies have been illegally investigating Americans and businesses since 1980. Through illegal wiretaps and bugging of homes, offices, automobiles, the placing of tracking devices on vehicles, and wherever possible on a target's person, and items such as a watch or clothing. They're also using GPS and cell phones to track their targets. They have been investigating financial records, often using their controlled informants to do illegal activities. The premise under this, which they are conducting illegal activities, is that we are all guilty of something. So, with that as other starting point, they are launching investigations violating all of federal and state laws, all constitutional rights, and all civil liberties. Their behavior and actions are as if we are their property, and they will do with us as they choose. The war on drugs is a cover that the Pentagon uses through the CIA to take over aspects of the illegal drug business, from growing and manufacturing to importing, exporting to sales. At least 99% of all illegal drug grower, manufacturers, and dealers are government-controlled informants, with the burst bug. The burst bug operates at various frequencies, hence the word burst. The frequency range for this device can go as high as 22 gigahertz, and because it is a government standard, can go above 22 gigahertz, possibly to 24 and higher. This device is most often detectable with detection equipment called OSCAR, which stands for an Enhanced Omnispectral Correlator, with the 21 gigahertz down converter. However, because of their constant surveillance of me with illegal phone taps, listening bug devices, and sabotaging my computers, they have full knowledge that I'm going public with this information. Therefore, the frequency is expected to be kept at above 22 gigahertz level for the present. For those being gang-stalked, the bug burst implant in informants is how they are able to have precise timing, accosting targets unexpectedly. They have this down to a science. Keep in mind they have hundreds of billions of taxpayers' dollars at their disposal, and their budgets have been increasing under those bogus wars for the past 30 years. What did I tell you about the Swiss? The Swiss make all wars. This will assist you in your availability to prove what is occurring. Gather the evidence against these individuals and intelligence agencies, as it will give you the power to both fight back and sue under the federal laws, including but not limited to the Patriot Act. Keep in mind that both these informants and the intelligence agencies are defined as terrorists under the Patriot Act and other federal laws. This is where the Patriot Act is a double-edged sword. Moreover, they are guilty of treason under our Constitution. Another fact, according to an individual who did work for the CIA under the war on drugs and several informants who have put their lives on the line to tell me information, is that there is no paper trail. They are using these acts of terrorism and acts of treason to achieve the total military-industrial complex. President Eisenhower warned about this in his last speech before leaving office. Editor's note. President Eisenhower wanted to leave a favorable legacy, but as a Swedish Jew, he was a murderer. Because of their constant terrorism against me dating to 1986, as well as the terrorism against my family, friends, and anyone connected to me, I have had to turn the tables and investigate them. And because the intelligence agencies are fully aware of my knowledge, they have launched a campaign to destroy my credibility, which simply will not work. What you are reading is a minuscule drop in the bucket. And now I need your help in exposing these murdering terrorists and to seek justice under our laws. Investigate for yourself. You will understand that this is the truth. And when you come to realize the terrorism, the treason, the murder, it will shock you, scare you, and anger you. So, whatever it takes, gather the resources you need to fight and expose this betrayal to the American people and the illegal use of our tax dollars using us in such a horrendous manner. For those of you that have lived with rose-colored glasses and have a difficult time accepting truth and reality, you need to grow up. It is time to face adulthood, to face the realities of life and deal with life as it is. And only together can we fight this evil. All laws are for our favor. Furthermore, if what is stated here is not true, then explain why a minimum of 90% of all businesses and corporations across the country, and I presume across the world, are owned and controlled by the government-controlled informants, given the Pentagon, FBI, CIA, the NSA, and the military just several years to achieve the total military-industrial complex. The following businesses are just a small example. You will find that they are all owned by government-controlled informants, and that most, if not all of the employees are also government-controlled informants. And all are controlled by intelligence agencies. The intelligence agencies tell them who to hire and who to fire, how much to pay, and how many hours to employ them. Every facet is dictated. These controlled informants have been and are still perpetrators in gang stalking and other forms of terrorism and acts of treason against this country and its citizens. They get jobs after the intelligence agencies deem that they have earned it, and they must continue to earn it. These acts of terrorism are also perpetuated against them by other controlled informants, which is a psychological warfare tactic used to control them. It keeps them living in fear. The burst bug links all, and all the digital recordings will prove everything. Evidence shows the truth. The following information is not bashing foreigners. In my investigations, I have found that most, if not all, foreigners who have entered this country since 1980 to gain an education and or work and reside in the country are government-controlled informants. Keep in mind, these people do not understand our way of life and our foundation under the Constitution.